The Adeptus Mechanicus army rule has seen a nice touch-up after the dataslate buff not too long ago, changing it from where it was not great to something a lot more feasible. And with these changes come a lot of new possibilities as to where you can take your army, whether you want to make them more range-oriented or melee-oriented, or a little bit of both. Let's go over those now. The army rule is Doctrina imperatives, which applies to all the units in your army now since the buff, except for Castellans. And this buff is divided into both Conqueror and Protector. Either of these allow you to be more flexible in how you want with your approach to the battle and to empower your lists. The rule is also heavily reliant on battle line units, being within 6 inches or so, and to be able to give access to a third of these buffs, so your Scutari are far more important than just simple objective fodder now. The Protector imperative gives ranged weapons equipped by models the heavy keyword, now improving the ballistic skill of ranged weapons equipped in the models by 1, and each time an enemy attack targets this unit, if the unit is within 6 inches of a battle line, subtract 1 from the hit roll. This Doctrina generally implies a more defensive and shooty playstyle, giving your guns heavy to +1 to hit if standing still, and also improving the BS to essentially give you +2 to hit, which can help with the heavier hitting weaponry such as Iron Strider Last Cannons or the Scorpius Faramite? Is that how you say it? Faramite cannons? This also gives your enemies -1 to hit in melee if you want, or to tie up a unit in melee with something like a Rust Stalker or a Fulgurite Priest block, and tilt the combat in your favor, provided you have any battle line units nearby. As for the Conqueror imperative, it gives the ranged weapons equipped by your models the assault ability, improving the weapon skill of your melee attacks by 1, and each time a model in the unit would make an attack, if it is within 6 inches of a battle line, it improves the armor penetration by 1. That's any attack, not just melee. The Conqueror imperative is usually the go-to Doctrina for one reason. Army-wide assault cannot be understated. Allowing your units to advance where they need to be and to secure ground or to become a screen is an amazing ability to open up with or to outmaneuver your opponent. In the current Pariah Nexus mission pack that we're playing in, units cannot advance and perform actions, but this still allows you to move into a position for any possible secondaries left to draw or to get yourself into a primary that you otherwise couldn't. Additionally, you increase your weapon skill by 1 and makes your newly buffed Rust Stalkers and Fulgurites way more deadly. Most importantly, it can give you AP1 to any attack if you have battle line nearby, and this is very important because, again, it's any attack, both ranged and melee. Battleline is very important to AdMech now, and this is just a small bullet point, but it's easily the most important. For synergies, we can double down on our last cannons, on our Iron Striders, or cannons on our Scorpius tanks to hit on 3s or 2s if you want to make a gun line with the Protector, but they can mess with the purpose of the Strider's high mobility, so being smart and choosing when you want to stand still, or to cater your list to be able to stand still while you have more units that are able to become the action monkeys. Being -1 to hit in melee can also be really good if you need to tie up far more dangerous units while moving forward, or dropping a screen ataraxy and then charging them to annoy an enemy unit so that they can't get rid of them so easily. Sidonian Dragoons with an 8 stealth or -1 to hit can also get -1 to melee to really block out the lanes with its wide bases and lock enemies into place. However, our little skills are very fragile, so don't expect to become invincible with this. For Conqueror synergies, Assault plays very nice with our battle line units who can move up to 12 inches now. Our Elite Caesarians can move up to 14, and our mounted units can move up to 18 to rush into objectives, cover, or very well screen out your opponents in their deployment zone, while being able to ping them with small arms fire. This is where the Bird Jail list comes into play, where you just don't let your opponents leave. Improving the weapon skill of things like Fulgurite Electro Priests make them hit on 2s and really bring out the hurt, or Rust Stalkers can shred up screens of T4 bodies more accurately. Castellan robots in the Cybernetica cohort can start to hit on 3s, and they have twin linked if you run double fists. With +2 attacks on a Datasmith, they start to really punch those high toughness enemies. Having AP with your army so long as they are within battle line cannot be understated. You can get your troops within range thanks to them having assault while maintaining pressure and powering up their small guns. This also really synergizes well with one of our strongest shooters, which is the Cataphron Breachers, with those nasty arc rifles, giving them reroll to hit, +1 AP, and even more AP if ran in the data song. They also push them even closer to the rapid fire range, and a whopping -4 AP, you can get rid of most things in the game. It's important to note that with the recent buffs to Call, he's now a huge aura of battle line for your units. He can stick on the field a lot better than a block of 10 Skitarii, and he deals a decent amount of damage, so people are experimenting with whether he's still a good idea to run into a list or not. Our army, while not exactly one of the most toughest or most threatening, has gotten a really nice facelift, and it's worth mentioning that it's probably a smart idea to start experimenting with units that we would never consider taking before, or to really double down on the strategies that we were taking before, to try to see if you can pry open a couple of those cans that were otherwise keeping us in that terrible 45% win rate or whatever we were. Anyway, thank you for watching, thank you for supporting the channel, and I look forward to giving you guys more tips.